Does anyone else struggle to do up their own clothes, or is it just me? Like, what? Why is it so hard? Okay, good morning guys. So today's video I am super excited about doing. This is kind of one of the videos that I've been wanting to do from the very beginning. Now, like, if you read the title, I get reading like 5 tips that I used in recovery. I mean, I used to read these all the time, and when I was struggling the most, I would read these titles and just be like, oh yeah, I'm sure they're really gonna work for me. Like, I'm sure they're gonna work, you know, like that shit ain't gonna work for me. So if you're looking at this video and you're kind of thinking, look, I might watch it, but I doubt any of this is gonna work for me, that's okay. Like, I used to think that as well, and just hopefully maybe something I say will stick with you, and maybe later on you'll be able to try it, because I mean, you never know how you're gonna feel in like a week or a month or even a year. You know what I'm saying? Okay, all right. Number one for me is a really, really big one, and it is that recovery is not two-sided. So for me, before I recovered, I used to think that it was either you're not recovered and you're really sick and life sucks and everything's just kind of a bit of a shit show, and then you're recovered and life is good, and in the middle is just like this huge mess from trying to get from not being recovered to recovered, and it's like a lot of hard work and something that I just can't do. That's what I used to think. And then when I actually started recovery, I realized that I was so wrong. To make this really simple, I'm still in recovery, as you might know if you've seen any of my other videos, but I'm still in recovery from bulimia and binging and purging. So for me to be able to sit here and say, look, I'm still recovering, but I have the best life right now that I have ever had. And I'm even talking like pre-eating disorder. Like, my life is so much better now, and I think it's because of the person I've become because of my eating disorder. So pretty much all I'm trying to say is that you can have an incredible life during the process of recovery. Recovery is not all just really, really difficult and awful times. It's not just a mess all the time. At the start of your recovery, yes, it's probably going to be the most difficult, and it's going to be very up and down, as you probably already know, but that doesn't mean that it's going to be hard for the entire time. You will get better at it and it will get easier. And you have to kind of remember that recovery, even though so different to anything, like everything in this world is different to something else, but you can relate them to each other. So for example, if you think about being absolutely petrified of heights, you're probably not going to go climb up those massive towers and look over the edge, or you're probably not going to go on one of those zip line things, right? But if you want to get over your fear of heights, then you're going to start climbing things, and eventually they're going to get higher and higher and higher until one day you're able to go on that zip line that goes over like all those mountains and shit. Like, one day you will get there, and it's the same with recovery. So at the start, it is really hard, and you might not even be able to do just the smallest thing. Like, it might be too much. The smallest thing might be too much, and that's okay because it's just the start. But once you keep going and once you keep trying over and over, it is going to get easier. There's no way that if you keep going, it's not going to get easier, and that is a promise from Rachel. Okay, so number 2 is don't try to do it all at once. This is something that I'm going to tell you, but you're probably still going to try to do because it's what people do in general. In recovery, you don't want to be pushing yourself past the point of what you can handle. And it is okay to accept that maybe all you can handle is something that you think is this big. Because if it feels this big and you're putting yourself down because maybe you can't handle eating an apple, for example, or maybe you can't keep down breakfast, you might think, oh my God, the regular person can do this, why can't I? They're not dealing with the same shit as you. What you're dealing with is so damn difficult for you, and that's what you've got to remember. So in the beginning, okay, maybe you can't have an extra piece of fruit, maybe you can't keep down even a snack, but that is a huge challenge for you. So instead of doing something and forcing yourself to do something that you know that you emotionally and physically can't handle, break it down. Break the steps down. So maybe you can't handle a certain snack. Maybe have a snack that is similar to that, maybe something you can handle. Maybe try having a regular snack that you can handle plus a bite of something that you can't. I get to the regular person that this might sound so extreme, but you have to remind yourself that no one is the same as you. No one feels the same way you do. No one is dealing with the same thing that you are. So if something is hard to you, don't put yourself down no matter how small that thing might seem. It's difficult for you, and you need to find a way that you're going to be able to manage it. And it's okay how long it takes. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. If it takes weeks and months, who cares? One day you're going to get there, because there's no way that if you keep trying that you won't get there. Hello. You always want to join it, don't you? Okay, so number 3 is celebrating every single little achievement. And this kind of goes with number 2. They kind of all go together. But making sure you celebrate every single achievement and making sure you have someone to celebrate with. Now, I know how hard it can be to open up to someone about your eating disorder. I know how hard excuse me. I know how difficult it can be to open up to someone, and I know how hard it can be to also tell them exactly how you're feeling about certain things. I know how hard that can be, but in saying that, it is so special when you have someone to share things with, because yes, at the start everything will be super hard and you might not be able to cope with certain things, but I promise you, once you start to achieve things, no matter how small or how big, once you start, you're gonna wish that you had someone to share that with. You want to have that person there that you can go to and say, like, look, today maybe I didn't plan out exactly what I was gonna eat, or hey, today maybe I ate one extra thing. You want that person that you can share your excitement with, because I promise you, once you get that excitement from someone else and you get those reactions, that's gonna make you feel just amazing. Because it's one thing to tell yourself that you've done a good job, but it's so easy, especially when you're not in a good place, to turn that back around and say, oh, but I couldn't do this. So you're kind of giving yourself a backhanded compliment, because you might say, oh, I achieved this, but oh, you know, that's nothing compared to other people. But if you have that other person there who knows what you're going through and who knows how hard things are for you, then they can back you up on that. They can say, no, you've done a great job. You've done a bomb-ass job, like dead-ass best thing I've ever heard. You are doing so well. And that's what you need. You need that person to really back the shit out of you, so that you know that you're doing a good job. Because at the start it's hard and your brain is going to go to all attempts to make sure that you stay down where you are, so that you can't see the praise you can get for doing such an amazing job. And you know what, I understand that not everyone will have someone in their life that they can trust with that kind of information. So if you need someone, I can be that person for you. If you want to send me a message, you want to tell me where you're at, if you want to tell me one amazing thing that you've done, I get that leaving it in the comment section might be a bit too much. If anyone wants to message me and say like, hey, I don't really know you, but I kind of did this thing today and I kind of just want to tell someone about it, I will be so excited, because I know how hard it is to even do the smallest thing. Period. So number 4 is such a basic one, and honestly, it's just something that I think should be a part of life. This is not just for people with eating disorders, but I think it's really important in recovery, and that is to let yourself have bad days. So in recovery, you're going to have bad days, bad moments, good moments, bad weeks, good weeks. You know, you're gonna have a whole range. So what's really important is that when you have bad days, is that you don't put yourself down for it. You might wake up one morning and for no reason, nothing has gone wrong, no one has said anything, but for some reason you just want to punch a hole in the wall. You are just not in a good mood, everything is pissing you off, and you don't even know why. This is a perfect example of a day that you should just sit yourself down and be like, okay, I'm accepting that today is a bad day. I'm not gonna try my hardest, and that's okay. It is so normal to have these days even when you don't have an eating disorder. So when you are in recovery and you are pushing yourself to all kinds of limits, you're gonna have a lot of these days at the start, and there is just some kind of beauty behind letting yourself just accept that it's a bad day and just say, okay, well, today is not the day, maybe tomorrow, and you know what? Maybe this week isn't the week. Maybe I'll try next week. That's okay, because there is no time limit on recovery. You do not have to get better in a month. You don't have to get better in a year. You can take years. It does not matter, because all that matters at the end of the day is that you're slowly moving forward, and that's it. Okay, so finally, number 5. I know this video has gone for a long time. I hope you're still here. I hope it's still okay. But number 5, okay. This is going, oh no. I can already see people wanting to punch me. But I know it sounds cliche. Learn the power of what you tell yourself. I know. Don't come for me. I know. Learning the power of what you tell yourself is so important, because you'll realize over time that what you repeat to yourself all the time is what you're gonna believe. So when I would wake up every single morning and every single time I looked in the mirror, I would just tell myself, I'm worthless, I'm ugly, why do I even bother with life? Why do I have an eating disorder? Why am I someone who can't get out of this eating disorder? I would just constantly throw negative thoughts at myself, just constantly. And how was I ever supposed to pick myself up and get better when all I was ever doing was putting myself down? I get that it can be so hard to give yourself praise, especially when you don't think very highly of yourself. But I also promise you that the more you do it, the easier it gets and the better you feel about yourself. I was definitely someone who would never ever have a good thing to say about anything that I did, and anytime someone would give me a compliment, I was one of those people that would shrug it off or actually get angry when someone complimented me because I couldn't handle it. I didn't believe it, and so I would just get really angry that someone was saying these lies to me, and I think, why would you even bother? And I was just a nasty person. Because of what I always told myself, I started to turn into the voice that I heard. I mean, just like everything else, it has taken a long time, but over the years, I've started saying nicer things to myself just every now and again, and now it comes really naturally, which is awesome. And I can't tell you how much better my life is just for not having that voice in my head constantly putting me down. Instead, I'm constantly uplifting myself. I still accept when I have a bad day or a bad week, or I'm not feeling myself, not feeling an outfit, not feeling my face, I just accept it and I can move on. And it's so much easier to live a life like that. And I know that it might sound so easy for me to sit here and just say, oh, you know, just do these 5 things and you'll be fine. No, no, you can't just suddenly start doing something that you haven't been doing for so long or that you've never done and expect it to be easy. It will take time, but what I'm telling you is that these 5 things helped me so much, and I put a lot of thought into what 5 things I wanted to pick, and these 5 definitely stood out to me the most as the things that helped me get the furthest in my recovery. So guys, I really hope that you enjoyed this video. This was definitely one that I was looking forward to making just because it's more positive and it's not so focused on the sadder side of eating disorders. I want to also focus on the amazing things that you can do in recovery. And so I really hope that something I've said kind of stuck with you, or maybe something that I said you want to try. That would be kind of cool. And yeah, anything that you want to say, like I've said before, you can leave any feedback you want in the comments. I would love to hear from someone. I'd be extremely grateful if anyone wants to give their honest opinion. I'm very grateful for anyone who made it through this video, and I really hope that I see you in my next one. Bye guys.